So we're here to discuss the movie Under Paris.
Under Paris.
Which is about a shark that terrorizes Paris, or actually multiple sharks as the movie progresses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Eventually.
But Kim and I are not by ourselves. We also have Ginny with us today.
Yay!
And Ginny...
Introduce me by my title, guest star, please.
Guest star Virginia Mullins. So, Ginny, did you watch the full film?
I don't know, did I?
We're going to find out.
That's what we're trying to find out.
We're going to find out. So, we want to talk a little bit about how much this is just like Jaws. At least I want to talk about that.
Yeah, sure.
And a sci-fi movie that has a slightly higher budget, potentially. A Sci-Fi Channel movie.
Right, a Sci-Fi Channel movie with a higher budget that's trying to be Jaws set in Paris.
Right. And I think on that merit, it actually kind of succeeds. Like,
I enjoyed it. I liked the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ginny, what did you think about it?
Well, do you guys think I was going to like this movie?
I thought you were going to like about 60% of the movie. Would you say that percentage is correct?
If it's fair for me to review a movie that we know is a genre I wouldn't like.
I don't understand. What do you not like about shark movies?
I actually think it's good to get an outside opinion of somebody who maybe doesn't like horror films. Which I don't even know if I would call this horror. I mean, I guess it is, but
I think there was some blood and water.
Yes, there
was a lot of underwater stuff, which is also frightening.
That's true.
There is, yes, and especially because there was a lot of dirty and trash, a lot of underwater that was obscured, which I liked.
It grossed me out a lot because of the water.
Oh yeah, the water was disgusting.
It was filthy the whole time.
Yes,
even the beginning, like the whole trash.
Yeah, which I thought was really cool. That like the visibility is so obscured because of all the trash that's in the ocean, which I think also plays into the message about like we are at fault for destroying our planet.
Right. It's a very environmentally charged film.
Oh
yes. Which I'm totally. I mean, I agree with it, but. That's sort of the core message, I think, wrapped around a very kind of B-movie horror action sort of thing.
And I mean, obviously, I think they push the message too much, especially in the very last scene. I would have done it a little differently.
So we'll talk about the ending later. I thought it was very abrupt, but we'll get back to that in a little bit. Did you watch it long enough to see the ending, Ginny?
I definitely watched the ending.
Okay, so you skipped around maybe a little bit to get to that point.
What?
So did you watch the full thing?
I definitely watched the beginning and the ending.
Okay.
Okay.
What happened?
What was your favorite part of the beginning?
The lady's pink hair.
She did have cool hair.
Yeah.
So okay, plot summary really quickly. And you're gonna have to remember.
You didn't tell anybody where we are.
We are at Hop and Vine. I think Hop and Vine is where we are in Davidson. It's a very cool place. It's not a brewery, but it's a cool bar with a cool hangout spot with a lot of good beers to enjoy.
Now it sounds
but
like
the plot, I love it. That's perfect. Hi, Chloe.
Look.
Chloe has loved our tripod and has wanted to abscond with it multiple times, which is perfect. Hi, Chloe.
Say hello to the people.
You say hi?
That's fair. That's fair. Make them earn it. Make them earn it.
I'm going to send you a link to this once we're finished so you'll have it. Yeah. Chloe's been great. She's been checking out our whole production here that we've got going on, which is very loosely structured. But okay, so the plot. The plot is basically that you've got a shark expert who is trying to track, I guess, the movements of this large great white. But I don't remember.
Not a great white.
It's not a great white. It's a mako.
Mako.
You're right. It's a mako.
I love those mako sharks.
It's a mako. And I think, well, don't they at some point talk about how, I don't remember if it's that makos can live in fresh water. There's sort of a reasoning they give that they can.
Bull sharks.
Okay.
Bull sharks can live and breed in fresh water.
You watched more of this than I thought you did.
But the whole point, so this is where it goes from Jaws to Deep Blue Sea, because the shark has evolved.
So, okay, and I want to briefly comment on that. So I saw this is like an 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is really high. Like, I mean, it's a good movie.
It is a good movie.
Somebody on Rotten Tomatoes called it the best shark movie after Jaws, and I do not agree with that.
That's not true. Deep Blue Sea is,
100%. I think Deep Blue Sea is the best shark movie after Jaws.
Yes.
But,
I would put Under Paris in maybe a top 5.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, it's better than Sharknado, which I enjoy for what it is.
And definitely better than the Meg 2.
Yeah, well, yeah, not the Meg 1.
Oh, no, the Meg 1.
I think the Meg 1 is still a top tier shark film. You've seen the Meg clearly, right, Jenny?
Have you seen Shark Night?
I don't think I have seen Shark
Shark
Night.
Night is decent.
Are you guys just making
And Open Water.
Oh
Is it-
yeah,
that's a good one.
yeah.
That's a good. Have you seen Open Water? That's a good one.
Yeah.
But basically, and I can't remember if they ever explained why the Mako gets so large. Like, did they ever? It's like
They
an
don't.
evolution.
Because of
Evolution.
global warming.
Is it?
Yeah, they said that.
But why?
Because
of
they're
global warming? I don't remember.
adapting. They're adapting
Yeah, they
to the
definitely
ocean.
said it was because of climate change. It was
Yes,
caused
yes.
it.
Okay.
They're adapting to the
Chris, did you
climate.
watch that?
I started to fall asleep.
He saw the beginning and the end.
And
I'm the
I
only one
finished
who
it this
watched the
morning.
middle.
But so here's what I'll say. To me, in a nutshell, this is like a sci-fi channel movie that had a bigger budget and that tried a little bit harder and mostly succeeded. Like, I had fun watching it, but there are some weird missteps here and there. But the effects are actually shockingly good. Like, I thought the CGI was good in it.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I was never distracted by being like, oh my gosh, that looks horrible.
Yeah,
The
like
cinematography was beautiful. Paris and under it really was.
Well, and as
It's
someone
until,
who,
like, the water turned red and then I would fast forward.
yes.
as someone who just went to Paris a couple months ago,
You were an expert on this.
it
Yes.
was really cool to watch, especially because our tech support
Chloe's joining again.
is
Yeah.
just like thinking we need to move the camera a little bit. I think,
love it.
especially because it takes it takes place
She's getting
part of
possession.
it
I love
It
it.
was a covert operation.
in the Paris catacombs,
Yes.
which was my favorite part of Paris.
Okay.
So I appreciated that reference.
So there was that scene where you could see all the skulls underwater and
Yes.
everything. So is that accurate?
So that particular part of the catacombs is not like the public access, but like that is the catacombs. The catacombs are just walls of skulls and bones.
Which is kind of awesome.
I mean,
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Shark fin.
No people bones.
Shark bones.
But it is connected to a sewer system, and in the catacombs of Paris, you can see like the sewer system. You can't access it, but you can see the tunnels. Like, it was really cool. I like how they did that.
So the premise of the whole movie, basically, and I don't know if they ever fully explained why the shark ends up in Paris. I remember there was a little bit of discussion about that at one point,
Just
but never.
because there's an access point.
Right, but at some point,
It's almost like it was unrealistic.
What?
almost. But the funny thing about it is, I feel like this movie shockingly tried to lean into real shark behavior to
They
a certain
did.
extent.
They did.
You know, besides the fact that they were in freshwater in Paris.
But because of climate change,
But that is the premise is
Anything could
that
happen.
sharks end up in the, am I pronouncing it correctly, the Seine?
Sen.
They end up in the Seine in Paris, but there's also a triathlon.
I was going to say
that's
before the
happening.
triathlon, with
So
the
a lot of-
Olympics coming up.
a lot of
It's all very
splashing.
real.
It was
that would
definitely a good time.
attract a lot of sharks. But okay, this is where I'm going to get into my notes a little bit. But before, unless you want to add anything before I do that piece of it. So, okay, Jaws, right? Every good shark movie riffs on Jaws to a certain extent,
Yeah.
a little bit, because understand it's one of the best movies of all time. So, first of all, you've got a mayor here, which is very reminiscent of Jaws, who refuses to listen to the shark experts,
Right.
just like in Jaws.
Yes.
Right? And
Yes.
you've watched Jaws because of my
I have
recommendation.
watched
You remember
Jaws,
the mayor who didn't want to listen to the
Yes,
experts?
I do actually.
Same thing here. Tourist dollars are the more
Yes.
important factor of everything.
They
And-
spent billions of dollars on the triathlon. What are they going to do? Oh,
Right.
well.
Random fact. I don't know if you know this, Jenny, and I don't know if I've told you this before. Maybe I have. My grandmother on my mother's side dated the
Yes.
guy who plays the mayor in Jaws
I did not
briefly.
know that.
You
Yeah,
told me.
yeah. So random fact. But also, there's the scene where you've got the yellow floats being dragged by the shark, which is
Mhm.
just like the yellow
The
barrels,
barrels,
in
yep.
Jaws. I mean, it's. I would say it's more of an homage, I guess, than a total ripoff. Like,
No,
it
I would
didn't
not say
bother
it's
me.
a ripoff. I mean, you know, using explosives and things
Right.
like that. You know, I think
The World War II shells.
well, that's why they
Yeah.
played with what was really there in Paris, and it does connect to the ocean, so it's feasible that a shark would be there. They do. I think it's a little bit of a stretch that the shark ends up in the catacombs. But they explain that there's still access to the catacombs from the river. So, like, they try to make it work. And quite honestly, the scene in the catacombs, the chaos, was
Yeah.
one of my favorite scenes. But
So,
I love bloodbaths, so.
If I have one critique of this movie, I feel like basically the beginning's really good, and then there's a long gap before the action really kicks back up.
Yes.
And the last like 30 minutes is pretty awesome, really. Like,
They're
with
trying
the-
to build this story. And I think they're trying to build a relationship, which was like the drama, the earnest part. Like the shark expert who lost everyone she ever loved in a shark attack is now bonded with the police guy who lost all his friends in the military. So, like, there's a nice little relationship. I care about these
And
people.
Kim and I were messaging, like, I think the earnestness of the attempt to make a pseudo-serious, I guess would be the word I would use,
Yeah.
shark movie makes me like it. I'm endeared toward it because of that. Jenny, what would you say about that? Would you agree?
How do you feel about
with
the
that
characters?
take?
Was there authentic character development?
I tried not to really even learn any of their names because I didn't know who was going to get eaten by a shark, and I didn't.
Most
really
of them,
have sense.
turns out, most of them.
Oh, I saw the end.
I mean, it was total chaos in that like catacomb scene.
Oh,
which-
yeah.
yeah.
But like, I do think that they did build some sort of authentic investment, especially in this police force, and even towards the end when like they've all got to come together and really try to get the sharks. Like, not everybody wants to be involved, and like there's hesitation. I was definitely invested, and there were people who died that I was like, I was genuinely upset that that person died. Like,
That's why you should
Yeah.
learn their names.
well,
But I will say, after the catacomb scene, when they get out to the actual triathlon and the shark gets out there and starts causing
Yeah.
havoc, like I sat up in my chair and was like, "This is awesome!" Like, I really got into it at that point.
yeah.
Yes, but also they set up a thing early in the movie where these guys are using like a big magnet to fish stuff out of the river, and
Yes.
World War II shells kind of play a factor into this, into causing more chaos. My other major critique, and I don't know if you agree with this or not, I feel like it just ends really abruptly. The movie, like there was a thing where they teed up the mayor, who you love to hate, could
Yeah.
be really like eaten. I mean, something crazy could happen, but
Something.
it just ends
I
kind of
thought
quickly.
the ending was hilarious.
How it just ends, but they're basically Paris being flooded, essentially.
Are we going to say then? Should we give a spoiler?
Oh,
yeah,
spoiler.
we're spoiling
Spoiler
things.
alert,
Yeah, it's
clear
fine.
eyes, turn off your sound. You don't want to know. Don't want to spoil this great movie for you.
Yeah,
But I thought the ending was hilarious. It just ends with her panting for no reason.
They're
She
basically-
wasn't breathing heavily when she got him out of the water. And then they're surrounded by chairs and shark fins.
right. I was
That's
about to
the
say
end.
they're basically trapped in the river on like the top of
What
a
was
roof
the
or something.
symbolism of the chairs? There had to be a reason for that.
Because it's showing you how much of Paris got flooded.
And it took all the chairs.
Because like, well, and as a Paris person, someone who's been to
There were a lot
Paris,
of chairs.
Yeah.
there are so many chairs. Because everybody sits outside.
You think
Literally every place you go, there are just chairs lined
are
up
all the chairs
outside.
exactly the same?
They look a lot like the chair in the movie. But I think it was supposed to show that like the flooding was so bad that like it was covering buildings. Like, I liked that Paris was flooded.
Yeah,
I thought it matched this whole like climate change and pro-environment theme. I did not love the sharks.
you mean just the design, or just
No, like I wish, honestly, I would have liked the movie better if they had defeated the shark, but had still flooded Paris, because it would have, to me, have been like, okay, we defeated the shark, but we've like climate change is real and we are still responsible for everything that's happening to the planet. I feel like the sharks almost made it too comedic. That now
At
they're
the end?
that now they're
that's what I'm saying.
surrendered.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious. The
Yeah,
shark-
it
Now
was-
they're
the sharks
literally
won.
surrounded by all these sharks in Paris that are
What's about
going
to
through the
happen?
I
tunnel.
mean, the irony of that is that was the most engaged I ever was with the movie. Was at the end when it was just chaos. And, you know,
I like the chaos. I
Yeah.
like the chaos. I just literally in the last 10 seconds, I just wish that we'd seen a flooded Paris with no sharks.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
bet sharks will arrive soon.
So do you think they were trying to tee up a sequel?
Well, I don't
Is
think
that-
they were trying to tee up a sequel.
Okay.
I just think it was like there were
Of
two.
just the sharks. They eat the last two people and
Well, no. Then they go all over because they're in the subway. I mean, they're like all right. Because they show them in the
Oh
subway.
yeah, they're everywhere. Yeah,
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 yeah.
Paris is flooded and the sharks are everywhere.
Yeah.
I just don't know that. Like, to me, if the movie was trying to be about the environment, I mean, the shark is a metaphor, right?
Right.
And so I didn't need the metaphor at the end. I got the message. If Paris had just been flooded, it would have been enough of a loss to show that these characters
Well,
were defeated.
and it goes back to the environmental impact.
Yeah,
Global warming.
Right.
Major cities being flooded. Right.
and
yeah,
like
so,
you were like, even if you defeat this shark, you've still killed your planet. Too
So-
late, too sad. Oh well.
I have a checklist of items I just want to touch on briefly.
Okay.
And I'm just curious. Okay, so first of all, Aliens. Did you ever finish watching Aliens?
Mm-mm.
This person sitting to my left has never seen Aliens,
I've
and I could
seen
not
it.
be more disappointed.
I've seen it almost twice
Okay.
and fell asleep twice. And I literally, the amount of men that I talk to on online dating apps, you can look for me, I'm on there, who I tell, they're like, I love aliens. And I'm like, I fell asleep. And then I'm like, thank God they keep talking to me after that, because
Yeah.
I would probably stop.
So anyway,
Did they ask if you've seen Alien versus Predator?
We don't get to Alien
that
versus
one's not
Predator.
really
That's the
as
one
good.
some guy forced me to watch at
Oh.
some point in my life.
It's okay, but it's But okay, so did you see the motion tracker in Aliens when it's like they're trying to find it's beeping constantly and they're getting closer? That was a thing here where they're tracking the shark.
Yes, a lot of tracking.
They riffed on that a little bit.
A lot of tracking.
I thought the water pressure scene was cool early on where she's being dragged down and her ears pop because of the water pressure. Did you see that scene early on?
And this is
I
where
saw that her ear was bleeding at the end of the movie.
Oh,
no, at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Basically, her leg is caught in a net and the shark takes her straight down and the water pressure just causes her eardrums to burst. So, which was weird because I thought later in the movie she was going to be deaf or like there was going to be some kind of
Well, she does bleed from her nose.
Yeah.
Later.
I don't know.
So which was I think supposed to be reminiscent of the damage.
So the other thing that I thought was hysterical. So this police officer is looking up information about the shark expert, and I can't remember her character's name. Was it like
Sophia?
Osha?
What the main movie was Sophia.
Was it Sophia?
It was Sophia.
Sophia. Okay.
Okay, I lied. I did realize
Anyway.
the two people that survived.
Okay.
Well, no, what was the guy's name?
Addie.
Well,
Something like that.
he finds a video of her doing basically a TED Talk.
Yes.
Did you notice in the background it says speech in big red letters?
No,
Like,
I didn't see what it said.
I was dying
But there
laughing
are a
when I saw
lot of
that.
those little things. Like when he's doing research on her, he finds an article about her written in English.
Mm-hmm.
But he's French.
Right. So is he?
And everything but I guess it happened in Hawaii, so maybe that's why it was in English. I don't know.
Yeah. And weirdly enough, so you saw it in French.
Yeah,
with
they were
subtitles.
talking French.
When I pulled it up on Netflix,
Been to Paris,
she
I
speaks
was
French
fluent. Je
Right.
parle français beaucoup.
Oui. However, I am not, despite taking 4 years of French in college. When I pulled it up on Netflix, it would only do English dub, the English dub version of it. Like I tried to pull up the French version, but it wouldn't do it. So I don't know what I was doing wrong there. But anyway, so the TED Talk speech thing was funny. I thought the part was funny too, where so when the shell goes off and there's an explosion, or no, not the shell. I'm sorry, when they plant the bomb in the catacombs. Did you notice the boat on the surface does one little short circle and then like gets settled again? It was the weirdest, most pointless circle they did in a boat ever.
It was a little weird, and I
He was
assumed
making,
it was because they were trying to get a little bit farther away from the explosion. It didn't seem like they got farther away.
Yeah.
But it seemed like that was their intention.
Yeah. So beyond that, I just got a note about the mayor getting eaten, which I would have liked to have seen. Like,
It would have been, yes.
Is it just implied?
Well, basically when the explosion happens, then the city starts getting flooded. The mayor just gets swept away, and that's like the end of that. So
yeah, all those people.
It just felt like there was an opportunity there for some really cool carnage and gore, but it just didn't really come to fruition. Which I know you were upset about that, Jenny. Right? That was
so.
The big
Here's my question.
Okay.
And here's the difference. What I would say between comedy and horror.
Okay.
Ish. In Jaws.
Yeah.
The mayor.
Yeah.
Survives.
Yes.
And he never sort of, there's no comeuppance, there's no whatever,
He doesn't get what's coming to him.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, yeah.
But in this, there is. Is it more horrifying or more dramatic when who we've sort of labeled the villain does not suffer for the decisions they've made?
Yeah, yeah, right. I see what you're saying.
And so, like, it doesn't, we want to see her suffer because that feels like the natural conclusion. But by not seeing it, it almost gives more of the horror element because horror plays on the unnatural conclusion.
Yeah.
I wrote a master's thesis on this, so I'm just like...
Well, I just think, from someone who writes on occasion...
You do?
On occasion.
You do?
I just could not resist something happening to that mayor. Like, it would just be...
Yeah.
Like, it just
Did
seemed
you
like...
have her arm get ripped off?
Oh, it would have been more than that.
Oh, yeah, definitely more than
Supposed to
that.
have
Yeah.
arms ripped off.
I do? Do I have
You
a...
showed me this. You sent me, like, that was the carnage that happened in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, that was going to make me watch it.
Right.
You do write about arms getting ripped off. in
Every
your
now and then.
book.
Not that
you've
often.
got
I feel like
Every
that's a
now-
major
yeah.
theme.
Well,
Yeah.
the hornets don't rip off anybody's limbs. They just,
They just, like, lay larvae that
get
explode
in them
and-
and then,
Maybe
and
not
break
that.
through their
Definitely
rib cage.
Bigfoots do.
Oh, yeah, Bigfoots rip off limbs.
Yeah. And
And,
I'm
like, carry
working-
them around.
Currently, I'm working on Blackbeard versus Bigfoot, which I'm super excited to
I
make
assume there'll be
that.
lots of limbs.
Well,
getting-
no spoilers, but there will be some craziness happening in that.
As there should
I'm
be.
on the second chapter right now, so I'm
Okay.
slowly making progress with it. Yeah.
Awesome. So
yeah.
possibly no arms that got ripped off.
Jenny
Yes.
and presumably Kim have graciously agreed
Yes.
to read the draft, which
Yes.
is awesome. So anyway, okay,
Am I
conclusions.
still invited after what I revealed about skimming over the parts of the arms?
You're always invited, Jenny. You're always invited.
I'll give critique on the gore.
Okay.
And you can critique the rest.
So quickly, we'll just do recommendations. Like, yeah, I think if you like shark movies, like you know, there's a little bit of a lull in the middle, but I overall enjoyed it and would say if you like shark films, sure, like check it out.
Yeah,
you know?
I absolutely agree. You do have to either be prepared to watch it dubbed, which is always weird, or be prepared that like you're gonna be listening to French and reading the subtitles. But I'll admit there were definitely times that I was like zoning out a little bit, and I didn't miss anything. So like.
That's a shame.
So I definitely recommend this movie.
All right, Virginia, we would like your recommendation. Would you recommend seeing this movie?
No.
Okay, you got to go beyond no.
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I don't think it's fair because I already went into it knowing that I wouldn't like this movie because I don't like this genre of movie.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of shark movies.
She's
I'm not
anti-shark.
a fan. They have really sharp teeth.
They
I'm not
do.
a fan of like bloody water, deep sea scenes.
Okay.
There wasn't much in there.
You didn't like the parasite?
Yeah, I liked the police officer and he was still alive and he was good looking.
He was very good looking.
Okay.
They were both really good looking. I was into that.
Oh, how shocking they saved the good looking people.
Yes.
again.
Right. For a potential sequel,
Yeah.
presumably.
Maybe.
So, I think that's it. Do we have
Yeah.
anything else we want to add to this one?
No. I think it's worth watching.
I gotta say, this is one of the most chaotic reviews I've ever done in my life.
Children
but it's been awesome.
stealing the tripod,
Yeah.
alarms going on.
I am so glad we finally got Jenny into this review, and I can only assume that you're going to be in future reviews
Yes.
too.
Yes, but occasionally can we do one that's not
Yes.
disgusting?
You know what, Jenny? Here's the thing. You pick the next movie.
Yeah.
No, you pick the next movie.
No, because you guys will hate anything.
That's not
No, we
true.
won't hate it. Just pick something.
I like a
Pick
lot of
something.
movies.
Jenny's
Well,
going to pick the
there's a
next
lot of
review we do. It may not be a horror film, but I
won't
assume
be.
it will not be a
It
horror
won't
film. But she's going to pick the next one. We'll be back soon.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for watching. That's it.